Hello and welcome. I'm Night's Angel. Thank you for joining me. This is just a folf on the road. Okay. So I finished one of my stories yesterday. I actually finished it. This has been a story I've been working on pretty much since I joined the fandom. And getting through it was one of the hardest things to do. And it's kind of hard to explain it. It pretty much is I didn't want it to end. I didn't want the story to end. And that's because I grew attached to the characters. And yeah, I know everything has to come to a close and a bunch of other fun little knickknacks about it. But the point is, I didn't want the story to end because I had grown to, I pretty much came to love the characters that inhabit that world. It actually hurt me to put them through some of the things that they did. It hurt me to have to make them suffer. And that's one of the reasons why whenever I talk to somebody about being a writer, I always keep this one thought in mind. It's the foremost thought of writing any story. Being the writer, you are the greatest hero and the greatest villain. Because that actually determines a lot about the story. And what that means is, what I mean by greatest hero and greatest villain is, as the writer, it's your job to put your characters to the test. The greater the conflict you give them, the greater their triumph, or the worse their failure. And it's a very difficult thing to do because when you actually get attached to these characters, you want to protect them. You don't want them to suffer. But at the same point in time, the greater the conflict, the greater the resolve. I mean, that's what gets people's attention. When you have characters put in a situation where failure, death, and a bunch of other nasty things will occur if they fail. And it's very hard to. You don't want to make it easy for them, but at the same point in time, you want to minimize the loss. I mean, that's why there are so many God mode characters. Characters that are so overpowered that these conflicts, these problems have no merit. To them, it's just another day in the office. That's why I use a particular character trope. And I use it in any story I write. Well, most stories I write. And that's the punching bag. Or the whipping boy, or whatever you want to call it. It's the character that pretty much everything beats on them. And that's one of the things that make the character unique, is that they have to overcome it. Generally, when I create a character like that, I make them strong enough to take it. I don't make them strong enough that it doesn't faze them. I make them strong enough that they can handle it. If I make a character physically powerful in any regard, well, I guess the easiest way to explain it is how I develop these characters. And when I do that, I actually nerf them, I believe is the term. I will make the character pretty much perfect. No flaws, no problems. And then I do something very cruel. I drag them through the mud. I put them through hardships in life. And it's how they come out of those hardships that makes them who they are. And that's how I make characters. When I make a character, when I'm telling a story, I'm not just making up a story. I'm chronicling a character's life and aspects of their life. And when I do that, that's pretty much how I can tell a story. Is I'm not doing all the work. I can throw in oddball curves that mix it up. And when I do that, the character has to adapt. That's why I keep on going back to that saying. Greatest hero, greatest villain. Because it's your job as a writer or a story maker or storyteller or whatever. It's your job to make it worthwhile. But on another note, well, I don't really have another note, but anyway. We're not even halfway through October. There are Christmas decorations being put out. There are, and particularly where I live, it's still in the 80s. I mean, seriously, Georgia summers last from pretty much April to November. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I'm stuck at a stop sign. Alright. I've been carrying this on too long, so I'm gonna go ahead and close it out here. Thank you for joining me. I'm Knight's Angel. This has just been Folf on the Road. Till we meet again, I hope you have a better day. Peace.